Ukraine is set to declare a state of emergency following Moscow's approval of 2 breakaway regions, as well as its movement of forces onto Ukrainian soil. The measures will see the introduction of stronger security at critical infrastructure facilities and military checkpoints along key transport links. Unmarked military vehicles have been spotted crossing the border after the Kremlin officially recognized the independence of the Luhansk and Donetsk regions on Monday. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Kiev's standoff with Russia will decide the future of European security. Its Foreign Affairs Minister, addressing an emergency UN General Assembly session, said Kiev needs action now.
Russia must withdraw its forces from the sovereign territory of Ukraine. Russia must stop destabilizing the international security situation. We Ukrainians want peace, and we want to resolve all issues through diplomacy. We stand ready for all possible scenarios and ready to protect our land and our people if Russia further attacks.
The US and NATO say Russia continues to stage a massive invasion force on Ukraine's border. Since the end of last year, security analysts estimate over 100,000 Russian troops have been sent to the region. On January 25th, Russia began joint military drills with Belarus. Those troops were set to leave last weekend, but Belarusian officials said the soldiers would stay indefinitely due to escalating tensions in Ukraine. Moscow denies its planning an invasion. Well, now our correspondent in Kiev, Sasha Vakulina, joins us now. Sasha, good to see you. So, a 30-day state of emergency, reservists being called up to the army. Ukraine is readying itself for the worst-case scenario?
Well, definitely it feels like that. And in addition to those 36,000 of the reservists, today we've got some new lines with additional 5,000 troops to be called by the National Guard and extra 5,000 more troops to the Border Guard Service. So this is not yet the general mobilization, but yet these are the measures announced today. Also, Ukrainian parliament today voted to approve in the first reading the draft law that would give the permission to Ukrainians to carry firearms and act in self-defense. These are some of the measures announced today in Kyiv by Ukrainian officials. They have also called on for all the Ukrainians who are currently in Russia to come back immediately, and for those who are now not there, not to travel to Russia.
Now, Sasha, we're also seeing reports of another cyber attack, this latest one hitting government websites. What more can you tell us about that?
Indeed, according to the latest information, it has started this afternoon around 4 p.m. and the cyber attack crashed the websites of the Cabinet of Ministers, the Security Service, the Verkhovna Rada, this is the Ukrainian Parliament, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and a few banks. It's still on. The investigation has started. They're trying to look into it to find more information about the sources. Where is it coming from? And of course, the attack today comes just 7 days after the attack that was called already the biggest and the largest in Ukraine's history, Mariam.
And Sasha, what's the mood like in the capital? Are people resigned to the possibility of a full-scale invasion?
I would say that the mood here about the possible invasion is getting more and more worrying every day. These are the conversations that you can hear just walking down the streets of Kiev and other cities in Ukraine. What Ukrainians do try to do nowadays, they try to be resilient and they try to be as consolidated as possible. And on that one today, one of the charities in the country, the fund called Come Back Alive, announced that just over one day, over 24 hours, Ukrainians donated more for Ukrainian army than they did in the whole 2021. There was more than 600,000 euros in donations in just 24 hours by the population of Ukraine for the army.